In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this cute little ornament of Bobette from Dandy's World. She turned out so cute. I did use an oversized ornament, but you can always use a smaller size, like a normal size, and it'll be just as cute, and you can use even less of the materials. I started out by drawing her markings with red paint, and while that was drying, I started drawing the body. I hand drew it onto a red sheet of felt fabric, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It takes a couple tries, so just keep going until you're happy with the shape that you drew. We want to make it a double layer so it's a little more sturdy, so I glued that first sheet onto another sheet of felt, and after that was done, I started cutting all around it, so that will leave you with the body of Bobette. After that, you're gonna want to do the outline of the sweater. So basically just exclude the head, the hands, and the feet. So you just want the torso part of the sweater. Uh, I accidentally did it on the white piece of fabric, so you want to do it on the green one instead. I did do two layers so that it has a layer of green sweater in the front and a layer of the green sweater on the back. So basically you just want to cut out a little sweater shape and then we'll build from there. For the white trim of her sweater, I traced out the parts that I needed onto the white felt sheet. So basically just kind of outlining that part of the sweater. So it would be the neckline, the cuffs, and the bottom of the sweater as well. So after those were drawn out, I cut them and glued them onto the sweater. So that gives it that white fur trim to give it a little more detail. I didn't like that I could see the outline of the legs with my pen markings that I did. So I outlined just the legs and the hands onto the red felt sheet again. And I cut those out and just glued them on top of her body. That way it would cover those pen lines that we drew the body with. So carefully cut those out, and that way it can kind of hide the outlines of your pen. Now we can glue the sweater onto her body, and you see how now it can hide all those pen marks from the body. That way it looks a lot cleaner, and we can start building from there. She's taking shape, so now we just want to cut around the areas to make sure that they all match, and we can move on to the fun part of decorating her Christmas sweater. I didn't follow exactly the same design as her tune, just because I wanted to use the stuff that I already had, and I already had this pack of fun colored pipe cleaners, and I also had some like cute little pom-poms in two different shades of green, so that was just easier for me to use that, and I was just cutting to the same size of the sweater and then gluing them on with my hot glue gun. Because it needs time to dry, I drew the eyes with my white puffy paint, so I just did two circles of the size that I wanted and set that aside while I finished working on my sweater. I was kind of following a similar design to what she has. I know it's not exactly the same, but I think it gives the same idea of a fun Christmas sweater. So I was just alternating between the two shades of green that I had in Pom Poms, and I think it worked out great, honestly. I don't think it takes away from what she looks like, so I loved it. For the shoes, I had red pipe cleaners that I cut little pieces and glued it on like in a crisscross to make the little shape of her shoe. So I think that was a cute little detail. I don't think you can really see it, but if you're really paying attention to the details, then it looks a little more three-dimensional. So now that the white outline of the eyes was dry, I went in with my black puffy paint and I just filled in the middle basically with my black puffy paint. And I also added the line outlining the eye. And it's gonna get messy. That's just what it is. But honestly, I think she still turned out great. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. With that same black puffy paint, I added her cute little eyelashes and she was slowly coming to life. I also added her cute little smile, and then we're gonna let her rest overnight or for a long couple of hours. We just want to make sure that that puffy paint is completely dry before we keep going with it. The next day, I came back and added more details to the body, to the sweater. So I added an outline with my white puffy paint to give it a little more texture to the white fur trim. For the hanging loop, I used a red pipe cleaner, And the last step was adding her cute little hat to cover that, the hanging part. So I just cut a strip of white felt fabric and just played around with it until I was happy with the shape and just glued that onto the ornament itself. So the last step that we need is gluing that body to the head. And if you see, I kind of made a little pocket of air in the middle of the body. That way it kind of shapes better to the head of, or like to the shape of the head. So very carefully, I attached the two pieces together and just waited for them to dry. She is pretty big, so I had to make room for her in my Christmas tree. But once I found a home for her, she went up there and look at her go. She looks so at home in my Christmas tree, and I'm just so happy with how this is turning out. Let me know if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, and stay tuned to see the rest of the collection. I'm having so much fun making all these Dandy's World characters. Make sure to subscribe and follow to see the rest, and thank you for watching. Bye!